Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's PC Matic VPN Town Hall. My name is Corey Munson. I am Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at PC Matic. I'm joined online by Jeff York, who helps lead our technical support team. And Jeff's going to walk us through the first part of today's session and talk a little bit about a few things on the agenda we want to make sure to cover. One, if you don't happen to have PC Matic VPN already, we want to make sure you understand why a VPN is important and how it serves as a complement to your current PC-Matic antivirus product, which many of you on this call already have. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a bit about best practices. So if you do have a VPN already, getting it installed, getting it configured correctly on the front end, and getting it set up so that on an ongoing basis, it's as effective as possible to do what it's supposed to do. And then finally, we want to allow for plenty of time for questions from you as an audience, as again, prospective VPN users or those that are currently using the product. We're wide open to any questions you have about how you've used the product, any challenges you've had, and we'll try to get to as many of those as possible. Now, to facilitate that question and answer part, if you'll take a moment to look at your GoToWebinar console, there's usually a question mark or a chat feature there that will allow you to actually submit questions to us. So Jeff and I will have visibility to those. We would suggest go ahead and start submitting those as soon as possible so we can work through those questions and have them teed up and ready to address as we get to that segment. So again, look for that. Now's a good time to find it so you know how to interact. Feel free to send those over the course of the entire session. And if you want to send us just a test message to let us know where you're logging in from, if you're in a state that normally doesn't see snow and you have snow, let us know that. But anyway, test that out. And finally, immediately following today's session, when we all log off, you'll be prompted with a very brief one-question survey that'll allow us to better understand how we can help you going forward. If you need more information about the VPN product or any of the PC-Matic products, if you need technical support and need to have a ticket opened and have someone from our team contact you, if you'd like more information about, we're going to talk a little bit about an upgraded support option we have for PC-Matic customers. We'll address that today. Again, this survey is just simply your opportunity to flag exactly how you would like us to follow up with you, and a member of our team will be in contact with you then within 24 hours. So with that being said, again, Jeff is you're going to hear his voice. He's not going to be on camera. I'm going to step off of camera, let Jeff take over the slides, and we'll get to the first segment. And then as we get to the Q&A part, I'll come back on camera and do my best to moderate any questions you send over the course of the next roughly 30 minutes. We hope to wrap this up in about 45 minutes. And the session is being recorded. If you happen to have to step away, we will make sure you've got a link to the replay and you can follow up from there. So with that, Jeff, it's all yours.
Hey, I am Jeff York, as Corey indicated, and I will be the disembodied voice that goes over this little slideshow that covers what PC-Matic VPN can do for you and why you would need it. Um, as Corey was indicating about the weather, I'm in one of the areas where the weather has sort of impacted the speed of the internet, so we've had to limit my footprint so that we don't lose connection. So first off, like I said, this is covering the PC-Matic VPN. Many of you who have the VPN also have the PC-Matic antivirus. There is one change to anybody who may have sat in on the previous VPN town halls. This one is going to be specifically covering the integrated version of the VPN, which is not the standalone product that we had initially launched. This one can be launched from within the PC-Matic window, and it's set up for more ease of use, and we'll cover that as we get to it. But so first off, I'd like to go over exactly what a VPN is for those of you who do not know. It is a virtual private network. It provides a secure connection essentially over the internet whenever you're doing your shopping or communicating or browsing. It masks your IP address. It encrypts your data that you're transferring back and forth between your computer and the website that you're viewing or shopping from, and it sort of acts as just a little private tunnel for online activity and privacy. This is sort of in a nutshell how it works. I have a little better diagram that might be more digestible later on in the slideshow. But essentially, it all starts from the user device. It is unencrypted and unsecure until it goes to the VPN client, which is on your computer. The VPN client itself encrypts the data that it is sending and sends it from the VPN. It goes to your internet provider. From your internet provider, it goes to a VPN server, also encrypted and changed around a bit, and then it goes to out into the World Wide Web from the VPN server. This is sort of a minimalized version of what is actually happening. This just sort of to illustrate that your data is being encrypted and it's going through several different places before it actually just goes out into the wild. Whereas without the VPN, it would just go straight to the internet service provider and then out to the web, and both of those would be unsecure. So meaning all the data that comes from your devices would be wide open for viewing or capturing by anybody with software or inclination to grab it. So why use a VPN? So as I sort of indicated, privacy. It will hide your IP address. It's hard to track your online activities. Security. It will encrypt your internet connection, protect the data on public Wi-Fi. It will allow you to access geographically based content. It bypasses the geo restrictions for streaming websites and other things. Also helps you avoid censorship that may be um, submitted for your specific region on certain apps or whatever. Um, that's just one of the many reasons. So why use a VPN? I wanted to, as I said, I wanted to give a sort of an allegory as to actually what is happening and why it's important and make it a little bit more digestible. So let's use something that everybody is common, or I'm sure familiar with, is shopping. And say you're going to be shopping on Walmart.com. And as you can see in the image, your home computer is indicated by the yellow triangle. And so you're out. That's where your device is, and you need to head to Walmart.com. You're submitting your purchase request, your purchase order, and you're sending it to Walmart.com to fulfill your whatever it is that you want to purchase and have it delivered to you. Um, so that is the request is going directly from your home to Walmart, and it will have all this way to travel. So the ocean is sort of to indicate or represent the World Wide Web. So as you're filling out, whenever you submit or do any kind of online shopping or even browsing, you're essentially filling out sort of an order form. It's a virtual order form known as a cookie. It includes your personal information, what you wish to purchase, what you've looked at before, and most importantly, the most important part of that is that it's asking for your personal information, as in the location of your computer, the location of where all of your activity is happening, your name, anything that is associated with your IP address, which is your internet address, and it will actually pinpoint you to a physical location on the map. Um, that is all entered in the order form. So essentially, you're just sending, when you're going directly from your computer to a website, you're essentially sending a message in a bottle over sea. The bottle's glass, they can easily see through, or just grab it and take it and read the information, copy it for themselves, and we'll get into why that is a big attack here a little bit later as well. Um, so as you can see, it seems a little bit unsecure. So it's viewable to anybody. Anybody could easily nab a bottle out of the water as it's trying to make its way all the way to Walmart.com. Um, let's see. So and as I said, it leaves you open to all the threats between your house and your destination. So this is just a goofy little image of all to represent all the different things that could possibly happen to your information as it makes its trek from your house to the website that you're requesting information or purchases or goods or videos or anything. So a VPN essentially just creates a private tunnel. So whereas before you were just setting a message on the bottle and it was susceptible to anything that the ocean had to offer. A VPN is creating a private little pathway between your house and Walmart.com to where none of your data is going to be tampered with by any of the things out there, any of the malicious actors, scammers, and the like. So first thing that happens, and this sort of breaks it down, is from your home, there is a secure tunnel that goes right to our VPN server. And our VPN server then takes that information that you've given and it actually fills out a brand new order form. So if say you want to buy a bike and you send that order for a bike over to the VPN server, it takes that same order form. It now encrypts all of your payment information and data, and then it also changes the from address. So now this request doesn't look like it's coming from your IP address. This request now looks like it is coming from that VPN server that the secure that you sent your request to via that secure tunnel. So then what essentially happens is it bounces through many servers to just further scramble the information and secure it even more. It will bounce from each server, and each time it goes to a different server, the from address on your request is also changed, and it goes through another layer of security until it finally reaches its destination. So by the time, if anybody was to grab the cookie, the virtual order form, or spy on it, grab it, anything like that, and manage to encrypt it, they wouldn't get all the information they needed because it gets changed per VPN, every VPN server that it goes through. And why is this? Why is it important? So 9 times out of 10, they're not going to specifically just steal your data and do something with it. What they're trying to do is something called social engineering. And this is essentially setting a trap to help you bypass the security and bypass all the measures that are taken nowadays to protect you by essentially giving them the information they need to trick you into hurting yourself. And they do this by reading those cookies, those order forms, and by developing some sort of a profile on who you are and what you do from that IP address, and they'll send you some sort of an email or a text, and they'll say, they know you just recently went to Walmart for a bike. Well, now they know that because you sent that information out unsecure. So they'll send you an email and they'll say your bike order was not completed. Please click here to reorder. That's how they get this information. And so when you click there and you enter the information, technically there's no security that can actually stop that from happening because you're volunteering that information to them because they've tricked you. And that social engineering right now is currently accounting between 70 and 93% of all residential and business level data breaches. So, meaning every time you look at the news and you see a data breach, there's a very high probability that they were able to obtain that information they needed to get the data from that company by tricking one of the employees or somebody like that into giving them the information they needed to access their database. So, and all these different variations, that's sort of the go-to method right now, and that's the one thing you should always be worried about. Antivirus will protect you from anything running on your computer that's malicious, but it can't protect you from volunteering your information to somebody because they were able to smooth talk you into giving them what they needed. And that's where a VPN comes in handy because if the criminals don't have that additional information, it makes it very hard for them to target a message that's convincing enough to make you give them the information they want. If they don't know you went to Walmart, they could just send you. They could say, "Hey, your Target order for a dirt bike didn't go through." And you'll say, "What? I did visit Target, and I have no interest in a dirt bike." So you wouldn't click on that. You wouldn't feel the need to respond to that quickly. But when they know what you've been doing and what you've been looking at and the type of shows that you like, they have a lot more information and they can do a lot more with that to target a message that would trick you. So how do you use our VPN? So now that we have that part, if you have any other questions on VPN, as a whole, just what the product does in terms of security. I'll give you a couple seconds to type a question in and send that to Corey. Just to wrap it all up, the VPN is essentially gather every time you make a connection with a website, you are sending out information about yourself. The VPN is protecting this information and keeping it away from anybody who would use that information for nefarious means. And so it's not like it's fighting any viruses or anything. It's to keep prying eyes away from information that can be used to hurt you. And that's in a nutshell. That is why it is essential nowadays, because there is such a focus on social engineering as a means of scamming you, or getting into your computer or getting into your bank or whatever it is that their intentions are.
Hey Jeff, we did have one question
Mhm.
about, and this is it, this might be a complex answer, but the question is, can an outside party backtrack on the tunnel to find out who I am?
No, no. And that's the thing. As soon as it, so we'll go into protocols when we discuss the settings and how to use the PCmatic VPN a little bit later. But there are these things called protocols which encrypt everything, all of your data. Not only do they encrypt it, but they scramble the signal, like I said, but they cannot backtrack because they won't be given access to these secure VPN servers. All these VPN servers are secure. So the VPN security keeps anybody out of there. It'd be the same as locking, essentially locking their entire server down, and nobody can get access, and they're not going to be able to socially engineer their way into it. So, short answer, no, they will not be able to backtrack it. There's a more complex answer, and if you are really interested, I can send you some documentation on exactly why that is and what is happening. But there's a lot going on that essentially scrambles that information so badly that nobody's able to even put it back together, even if they were able to gain access to those servers and try to backtrack. Essentially, like putting a document in a server and dropping pieces of that, or a shredder, and dropping little piles of that document in a whole bunch of different locations, and it's just nearly impossible to do that. So, um, but very good question though.
Great. All right, so on to how to use the VPN.
Okay. All right. So, as I indicated before at the very beginning, we have moved away from using a standalone VPN product to more of an integrated product. Just to make it, the whole idea is to make it very easy out of the box to make sure that you're secure immediately, so that you don't have to configure a lot of things. There are still options, and if you are interested in the more advanced options and things like that, you can always access the documents. You can ask us here, um, whatever. But what we've essentially tried to do is make it to where all levels of security are provided and easily set up and understandable as soon as you download the software. So you're not sitting there scrambling, wondering, did I set this up correctly? So you immediately have peace of mind. You know you're good to go, and there's nothing else to worry about, because we all have enough to worry about. Computer security is it's nice to at least knock that one off the list of things to worry about. So the first thing is, obviously, you install. And the difference here is, if you have, so say you purchase PCmatic and you want to go back to the PCmatic VPN later. You've already installed the VPN software, whether you realize it or not. So PCmatic installs itself as in its entirety, the entire suite of products. Now, there are certain components, obviously, that are missing from the products that you're not using, and you will get access to those parts when you sign up for a subscription to them. But for the most part, as soon as you install PCmatic, the VPN is already there. So if you go to the VPN tab and you see the order form that says you do not actively have this, click here to purchase, and you purchase. The purchase should automatically show up in that same exact window because the software is there. There's nothing else left to download. So in a nutshell, the downloading the VP to download PCmatic 5 is to download the PCmatic VPN as well. And you'll obviously, upon installing PCmatic, you log in with the email and password that you use to create your account at the very beginning. And once it opens, you'll click the VPN tab on the left side, and this is the screen you should see. By default, the VPN is set up to run an automatic connect. So as soon as you click that VPN tab, the VPN should automatically be connected, and you'll see your data download speed, your upload speed, which protocol is running in the little black rectangle on the right, your connected status, and what server. So the server right there, that's what other people are seeing as your location whenever you access the VPN server. So instead of wherever you're from, they'll see the Atlanta, Georgia IP address. And the net protect is the secure VPN server. Um, Depending on how many hops that address will change, like indicated in the little example I gave earlier, but we won't dive too far into that to overcomplicate matters. If you choose to not have auto connect on, this is what it looks like. I just wanted to include a picture because as Corey said, I work over at the help desk, so I see pretty frequently people are confused when they see that little red square that says not connected, that they'll automatically assume maybe the VPN hasn't installed correctly. And all that means is simply that the auto connect is not turned on. And clicking that quick connect will get you set up immediately. So here's the servers tabs. If you The other option with the VPN, if you click that servers tab, it'll give you a couple things to do. You can use the country drop down box, and it will filter all the available servers by country. So if you choose the United States, it will only show you options in the US, and same goes for every country. There's a search bar to the right of that country drop down box, and you could specifically type in a country, you could type in a city, whatever you want, and it will give you a list. It will give you that specific um, item that you're searching for, or server that you're searching for. At the very top of that list under available locations is best available. Best available is going to be the server that is closest to you, that is the fastest. It has the fewest amount of other people connected to it. So the fewer the people connected, the faster your connection is going to be. Same as everything. The more people that are using the same server, the slower it's going to be. So best available is going to kind of sort through that and see which one is the closest to you with the smallest amount of people currently using it. And that will give you your best available connection. Or you can just simply scroll through the list and manually click the connect button on the server that you feel is best for you. And as you see that percentage to the right of the city name, that's the server load, which is how many people are currently on it. Meaning, if you look at that very first option, 23%, obviously 23% of the max capacity for that server are currently using it. Um, a good, a very good connection would obviously be in the single digits, uh, but 20 is not bad either. So, and then there is the other tab is the settings tab, and the first option that you come to in settings is the protocol, which is what I was alluding to earlier. Um, the protocol is essentially a set of instructions that tells the VPN how it should encrypt the data, and which direction and which server route it should take to hop the information around. And each protocol has a different way of doing things. Um, some protocols are not going to be the best for certain situations, and I've outlined on the next tab exactly what each of those protocols does and what they're known for, what's a good thing about them, what's a bad thing about them. WireGuard is the most recent one that we've added. It is the newest, most innovative, extremely fast, and it concentrates focus mainly on connection speed. So that's the default in most occasions. We have it already set up to use WireGuard immediately right out the gate. Um, The only con to it is so new that some websites have not yet added it to their exception list. So every website has a list, sort of their own guest list of what servers they're going to allow to make connections to them. And WireGuard hasn't made that list on some of them because it's still very new. So what would that look like to you? That would look like you're browsing and then all of a sudden you would be rejected from going to a specific site because the website is saying something about the gateway error or something like that. That means they're not going to allow you access. So changing to a different protocol would usually bypass that scenario. The IKEV2 is very stable and secure. It focuses on stability and security. That's the one that it wants them. That those are the two principles that focuses on the most. And the best thing about it is it continues to work after a connection is lost with the internet, meaning it'll continue to stay on to keep you protected. Because if you are on the internet and the VPN dies and you're still on the internet, well then all of a sudden all that security, all that secret tunnel, all that's it's just gone and you're just out there exposed again. So the IKEV2 focuses mainly on making sure that that does not happen, but you're sacrificing speed, your speed of your internet speed for that. Um, and the con is it's best used by mobile devices for that reason rather than computers. And mobile devices, why it's better for them is it prevents you from falling for the man in the middle attack. That's where if you're say in a hotel lobby and you've tried to check in early and you're just kind of sitting there waiting to go into your room and you connect to their Wi-Fi out in the lobby and maybe you notice, you say you're at the Marriott, maybe you notice there's two different Marriott guest Wi-Fis. One of them could be a scam Wi-Fi, and it could just be a person who is just has a little Wi-Fi device, a little scam Wi-Fi device, and is capturing everybody's information who connects to that uh to that fake Wi-Fi option. So VPNs like this will protect you from those types of attacks. And that's why it's more specifically focused on mobile devices. And then OpenVPN, it is a very flexible and very widely accepted, meaning it is secure, but it is flexible to any other website's individual protocols, and everybody accepts OpenVPN. You won't have much of a problem. So if you go to a website and it continuously boots you out because of the VPN, changing to the Open VPN protocol might be what the ticket to getting into that website without having to turn off the VPN. Um, the only reason is it may cause rejection to some servers because it's not as fast. So this is the slowest one, but it's the most widely accepted. Uh, and it would be more for those websites that are just being pesky and not wanting you to join. So and each protocol, like I said, the protocols are just a set of instructions on which route you go with the when hopping from server to server, the different way you encrypt each data, the different encryption keys. So each protocol has a different way of doing business. So then the next thing on the settings item is auto connect settings. And there's three different options. You'll have the option to do not automatically connect, which would require you to each time you open the VPN, hit that connect button yourself. Connect to the last server. So say you connect to Ashburn, Virginia. The next time you open PCmatic and click the VPN, it's going to automatically connect to Ashburn, Virginia, unless you change it manually. And then when you close it and reopen it, it will automatically connect to whatever one you had changed it from Ashburn to. And then the next one is connect to fastest server. So that's self-explanatory. It's gonna each time the VPN is open, it's gonna automatically connect to the one that has the fastest speed at the time. And those are the settings that Those are the first two sets of settings, and we've tried to simplify it. There are more secure settings and more detailed settings. We can go over those at another time, but to open the program right out of the box and get it running, those are the only ones you'll really need to focus on to get set up and stay protected. And then I have a list of quick fixes for common issues that we do see in the help desk. One is slow connection and unexpected website performance. All three of those, or both of those issues, can be handled by scrolling through to another server or scrolling to a different protocol. So you would just do, say you're running into a speed issue, you would open up your server list and try to find a server closest to you with the smallest load and click on that one. And your speed should improve exponentially. Or just change the different protocol. Maybe you had to switch to IKEV2 for something and you never switched back. So go back to WireGuard, which is the fastest, and the WireGuard protocol, and that may help resolve your issue. A new one that's occurred with the integrated product is some people are starting to purchase the VPN with a different email that's on the PCmatic subscription. So why is that a problem? So as you know, when you install PCmatic on your device, you log in with your email and password that you created. If that same email and password does not match the VPN, whenever you try to open the VPN tab, there's still no VPN license attached to the account that you've set up for your PCmatic account. So it's essentially two different accounts. So the only way for that to work, the integration to work perfectly, is both of those products have to be purchased using the same exact email. So I'd advise as before you make the purchase, just to take a quick couple seconds to double check the email used on that order form, because I know some people have those autofill features. So when you go through an order, maybe you don't even notice it, and all of a sudden it automatically flip flops the email to whichever is in your autofill settings. I've seen that happen a couple times, so just be cognitive of that. If you do encounter the issue where you purchase the VPN and then you click the VPN button and it's still asking you to purchase, that is probably the situation you're in, and you just open a ticket and we'll fix that for you really quickly. Um, and then the consistent disconnection with the internet, that happens from time to time, not very often. But again, that's one of those issues that's resolved by switching to a different server or trying to change the protocol. So it's there's only a very few set amount of problems that do occur when the VPN is installed and working correctly, and as a result, there's only a very few select amount of things that will fix those issues because they're typically all resolved by the same set of exercises. And I think I breezed through this. We actually have quite a lot of time left over for questions and answers. Before we get into that, Corey, and I think I may have dropped the ball on mentioning the support that comes with PCmatic VPN and PCmatic. That's an important part. Maybe if you wanted to cover that.
Yeah, let's definitely talk about that. So this applies both again to folks that are considering purchasing VPN in addition to PCmatic, or those that already have that combination of those two products. If you own PCmatic antivirus and you own the PCmatic VPN service, that combination of products gets you access to an elevated level of support that includes phone support. So you're no longer limited to just email communication with our support team. Now, let me say this. Over 25 years in business, one of the things that we're consistently, uh, um, I guess, succeeding with is our ability to service our customers through that email communication. So I don't want to suggest to anyone that that is somehow limiting our ability to support the product or communicate with you. But those that would prefer to be able to have someone to talk to and talk about issues related to either PCmatic or VPN, the purchase of those two things together gives you access to that phone level of support. If you currently have that combination and don't know what that phone number is or need to be pointed to it, get in touch with us, include that as a part of your notes in your follow-up survey, and we'll make sure you've got that phone number. The other thing to consider is above and beyond that level of phone support, we've got a relatively new service called Support Unlimited. So those folks that have had the interaction with our call center for the phone support related to VPN and PCmatic have been overwhelmingly pleased with the service that they received and the thoroughness of those phone calls. The elevated level of support we offer beyond that, that's available through that same call center, is something called Support Unlimited. We have a service now that would give you access to not only troubleshoot PCmatic related issues, VPN, antivirus, whatever the case may be, but this level of support would give you access to technicians who can help you with your smart TV, who could help you with your home networking setup. If you have smart devices that are connected throughout the house, they'd be able to troubleshoot with you on that. I can tell you personally, I've called them before for help with configuring a Fire Stick on one of my TVs, and they did that within about 5 to 10 minutes. So something to really consider, again, if you value having someone to be able to talk to on the phone about issues, and two, don't want to have to go do Google searches every time something comes up with some connected device throughout your house or a piece of hardware, your router, whatever the case may be. This is a really, really good option, and it's very economical as well. Again, on the follow-up survey that pops up right before we close out today, if you're interested in that, go ahead and indicate that in the survey, and we'll give you more information about it, and even give you a discount option to be able to subscribe to that service. So, with that being said, we do have plenty of questions here, Jeff. So we'll start diving into them. One thing I thought I would give you a chance to clarify for everyone that's logged in is those that may have yet to make the upgrade to PCmatic 5. We may have a few folks there. So can you talk through that a little bit where they're going to have a different customer experience than those that have upgraded to 5?
Right, that's correct. And for those, it's a standalone product. And there are, for anybody that's asked about that, Corey, let me know, and I'll definitely get some information out to them. We have a lot of documentation out for the standalone product. I just wanted to focus more on the integrated because we just launched it recently. But yeah, for those, we have not forgotten about you. There's for the standalone product, it works just as easy. You will install that standalone product. You will log in with the email and password associated with that account, and it is completely active. And you can set it up exactly the same way as you would the integrated. Click the auto connect settings, just like I showed you on the integrated version, and you'll go through the same servers, same protocols. Everything is exactly the same. It's just on a standalone window outside of the PCmatic window. So there's not much difference at all.
And again, the long-term goal is all of our customers will be migrated to that at some point along the way. It's just really a difference of user experience more than it is functionality. So either way, the VPN will deliver on exactly what we've been talking about today. So let's start going through some questions here, Jeff. This one's one we hear consistently over the course of these webinars. It's people that are doing online banking, and I think maybe you would address the split tunneling, but let's talk about one, why these issues may come up trying to use a VPN with online banking, and what can be done to overcome that.
Okay, so it's a very good question. So when I was going through the little example, I was indicating that your communication between your home and say Walmart is essentially unprotected. Where it's different with an online banking, they have secure settings and their own secure portals for communication between your home device and them. They have a lot of those set up already, which is why when you try to use your own, they sort of conflict, and it bypasses their ability to see who's accessing your account. So, for instance, Corey, if Corey is using a VPN and he's trying to access his bank account, his bank does not have any way of proving that this is in fact Corey accessing the account. So, it's the same as if you were to physically go into the bank and just try to withdraw money without identification or proof of who you are, they're not, they're going to send you packing. They're not going to, they're not just going to hand you over any money without verification. So the VPN is completely masking your identity. So you're essentially going into a bank with a ski mask on and saying, "Trust me, I'm Corey. Just give me this money." So it's that's why you'll essentially have to access either using split tunneling, which we can go over um, later. We have some documentation on that, or just by simply once you access the website for the bank, turn your VPN off and then turn it back on after you're done doing your banking. But once you've gotten to the website, the banking website, you are now in their secure portal, so to speak, and your information is protected there. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, yeah, and there was, and we talked about split tunneling, and again, what we're happy to point folks to the documentation
Mhm.
around how to implement that. Mike did ask about split tunneling on the new version of PCmatic. I would guess maybe the how to reach those settings is the
Yeah, so
navigation's different.
right, yeah, so split tunneling on the new version has not yet made it there. So they are adding that soon with the latest version. As I said, this is just the first rollout, the first iteration. They're getting everything working correctly. Split tunneling will be added later, but it's not there now. If split tunneling is important to you, then you probably may want to just continue using the standalone, rather than the integrated version. And that's it. As soon as and it's very easy to find on the standalone. You just click settings, and split tunneling is one of the tabs there. So made it very easy to find.
Great. As a follow-up to that, Ron was asking about the banking and VPN related issues. He's asking about accessing a bank account without a VPN if this is a security risk. At least, and Jeff jump in here as well. I can I can suggest to just about every friend and family that's ever asked me about it from a security standpoint, the banking industry, the financial industry as a whole is probably one of the most secure that's out there because they have to be and they've got protocols in place and security in place that probably exceed uh, many organizations out there. So I wouldn't hesitate to do online banking without a VPN. I would be extra mindful these days, though, of any type of communication you receive outside of normal communication from your bank. If you don't normally get text messages from your bank, as an example, don't go clicking on those. If you get an email that's somehow unexpected, don't go clicking on that email right away from your bank. The best thing to do is if you do have a question or do question some sort of communication you get from a bank would be to contact them directly just to verify that that's legitimately from them. If you're taking those steps, I think banking without a VPN is pretty safe. Any other thoughts there,
No,
Jeff?
I mean, you said it perfectly. They are one of the most secure institutions right now online, and like you said, because they have to be. They undergo penetration tests from some of the best white hat hackers that money can buy, and they pass with flying colors because they have to. The minute that their structure is insecure, they'll get shut down, and so that's yeah, it is still very secure. It's sort of it does sound odd, but the connection between your device and the bank is a secure in itself, which is why the VPN, adding that extra layer of VPN, not only masks your identity from the bank, but it also um, conflicts with their already set up protocols that they have. So.
All right, a question about performance. Will my connection speeds be slower, faster, or different when I go through a VPN as opposed to not going through a VPN?
So ideally, they're not going to be faster, but ideally they're not going to change. So it's not speeding up your connection. The WireGuard and things like that focus mainly on speed. Their whole focus is to make sure that even though you're hopping through 3 or 4 different servers, whereas opposed you're going directly to a website, it's happening at such a quick fraction of a second that there's little to no noticeability in any lag at all. Obviously, because it is a secure, you're going through a secure tunnel and you're going through different hops, there is going to be a slight lag, but the idea is to make it so slight that it's unnoticeable relatively. And if you are using your product and you notice a very bad slowdown, then sort of what I indicated earlier about those changing a server that's closest to you with the smallest load size, or changing to a different protocol. And usually that'll fix it right away. So something, it's a very easy issue. It doesn't happen often, but to answer your question, it should not slow it down at all. It should be the same.
A question from John. He says, "Does the VPN help to stop the advertisements that originate on the links you look at or buy?" So I think this question is that VPN going to keep you from seeing ads pop up based on something you just clicked on a particular store site or off of Amazon? Talk to
Right.
that, Jeff.
So it's a different area, and it's a very commonly asked question. The the order and to go back to my example, that order form that I said is sort of a digital cookie. These cookies are stored on your computer. So anything you look at is going to be stored in your browser. What the VPN protects is for those, uh, it blocks the ability for outside people to grab those cookies and get that information off of you. So short answer, no, it will not, because these are in fact part of your browser. The browser that you use, they're the ones generating these pop-ups and allowing these pop-ups. So pop-up blocker, which we have as well, that PCmatic ad blocker, that will stop the pop-ups. Um, the VPN stops. So if you have a bunch of pop-ups and you go to Walmart.com and you've been also shopping for shoes, when without a VPN, they not only can see that you asked for a Walmart order, but they also grab all of the cookies to have your entire browsing session in there. So they'll see that you were looking at shoes previously, and they'll see that you're looking at 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 your local sports team, and they'll have all that data to compile sort of a profile on you. And then once they got that profile, they make those very targeted, very convincing attacks, and emails and letters and texts, and just to trick you. So yeah, it's a completely different area, but we already have you covered if you just activate the PCmatic ad blocker, which comes free with PCmatic.
And above and beyond the ad blocker, I know we've got articles out there on our blog that talk a lot more about cookies.
Hmm.
You'll notice that when you visit a lot of sites, you'll have an option whether you want to accept cookies or reject cookies. We've got articles about best practice around that. We've got documentation and articles around cleaning cookies off of your system and removing them. So that's all a possibility above and beyond the ad blocker. Harry would like to know, he said, store websites ask permission to know my location. Should I grant that access to let them know? And if I do, where does that direct the store, i.e. the server address? This is a really interesting question. You've referenced Walmart
Hmm.
through the course of the presentation. I'm thinking of going to Walmart. It asks you if you want to set your store preference, so it can tell you what's in stock in that particular store in that particular location. So I can see that there would definitely be reasons you would want to do that, but when you're running a VPN, that potentially conflicts with that, right,
Right.
Jeff?
Well, if you share your location while running a VPN, it's going to grab the information, the location from that VPN server. So if they've hopped you around and say you're using a Korean VPN server, it's if you say I want to share my location, it could turn your Walmart it could turn your Walmart webpage to a Korean Walmart webpage in Korean language, because it's you've given them the permission to grab your location, but it's the location of the VPN server you're accessing it through. So yeah, to your point, Corey, it's all about convenience, but for every level of convenience, you're sacrificing a little bit more security and a little bit more information about yourself to these people. And information is something they mine like gold now. Without it, with the information they mine, they can target ads, they can target offers, they can it's just that is completely up to you on preference. Security wise, the VPN will stop you from a criminal getting it, but the website will still have your preferences and things like that. But that's up to you.
Yeah, fortunately, we're going to have more and more control over our own data. I think you're going to see legislation and some action around that.
Right.
But it all comes down to our ability to be engaged at that level and take action around it. It's not automatically going to happen on your behalf. So
Yep.
stay tuned for more there. Another question that came in, Dennis was asking, and we could probably take this one offline with Dennis. If a VPN was added with PCMatic 4, can upgrading to 5 cause issues with PCMatic not opening? And it sounds like maybe he had this as a one-off with one of his computers. Any
Yes.
Okay.
We not that it's designed to do that, but we have seen it happen. We have some solutions to fix it. Essentially, it's just the same with some computers. Whenever you uninstall, sometimes they'll hold on to more of the old files than what they should. So then you put the new files on top of it, and they're just not matching. There's some PCMatic 4 files where PCMatic file 5 files should be, and it's we have some methods. If you want to open a ticket, or if you have already, you can always send a ticket to help@pcmatic.com. You can make it out to attention Jeff, and they will immediately get it right to me, and I'll know who you are and what information you need, and I'll get you all set up.
Or if you don't want to open a ticket that way, again, with this survey that'll pop up in a matter of minutes, just indicate that you want someone from our
Yes.
tech support team to follow up with you, and they will.
Or
Robert
if you
has a
have
question.
VPN, you can call. You can just call
Th-
somebody.
There you go. Robert would like to know. He said, I'm often auto connected to the VPN server in Nassau, Bahamas. This causes me problems. How can I set my VPN to only connect to servers in the continental U.S.?
Okay, so whenever you click on the settings option, there's that list of servers. Um, there is a drop down box, and you can filter it by country. You will filter it by whichever country you want to keep the servers to. You will connect to a US server, and then you will click automatically connect to last server, and that will keep you out of other countries, and keep you connected to US servers only, if that's what you're interested in. If you want a different country server, you do the same thing. Just click, filter the servers by country, and then you'll have to automatically connect to one of those first to get it started. Without automatically connecting to one of those country servers, it's just going to default back to whichever the settings are. And also clearing out the cache in your system can also help that. But once again, that's a more detailed issue. And if you're continuing to have problems with it outside of what I just said, then definitely open a ticket and we can walk you through that.
All right, we've got time for just a few more. Jim is asking, he says, I have several items in my local area network. How do I connect all of these devices to VPN?
Okay. So you would install the VPN agent on each of these devices, um, and instruct all of them to connect automatically, essentially. So every time the device would be turned on, the VPN would automatically connect, and it will all of those devices will stay protected. Coming soon, we will eventually have it to where the VPN can be used on routers and things like that. So then essentially you would just put the VPN on one router, so every device that went through that router to access the internet would essentially have VPN protection. That's currently not an option right now, but that is something we're definitely thinking of for the future.
Great. I think that might be about it, and we're coming up on the top of the hour. Those of you that did ask questions via the chat that appear to be kind of one-off or unique questions, unique to your particular situation, we will be in touch with you and work with you to address those concerns on a one-on-one basis. Even if you don't fill the survey out here in a matter of minutes, we do have a record of who submitted these questions, and we will communicate with you through your email address. We'll have one of our support technicians get in touch with you and address some of the questions that have come up here. I think the thing we will close with, just broadly speaking, people were asking about differences between PCmatic and some of the other VPN services out there, and if Jeff has some things to say about that. I can tell you, spending a lot of time looking at the kind of competitive landscape in the antivirus space and the VPN space, and a lot of these security privacy software products like ours, one of the big differentiators above and beyond anything feature wise is the support. And I think that's what we take a lot of pride on here at PCmatic, is being able to support and address concerns in a very quick and timely and thorough manner, whether that's through our email communication or if you happen to have access to our call center and being able to call in with those issues. You're not going to find that with a lot of products that are out there on the market today. The communication is typically not always quick, and responses, I should say, aren't typically very quick. You are typically not always dealing with US based support technicians in the case of PCmatic. Whether you're communicating with us through email or happen to be talking to our call center, you're talking to US based uh, technicians that are here and not somewhere else, and that is significant to many people. Jeff, anything to say about particular differences that stick out to you with what we're doing with our VPN versus others, or?
Yeah, and to sort of piggyback off the support thing, even with just the email support, there are actual live people reading each email and answering each email, whereas many other supports are still relying pretty heavily on AI bots to answer the majority of these questions. So that's another thing that sort of sets us apart on support. But in terms of performance based, PCmatic VPN focuses more on speed and security. So we are one of the fastest ones and one of the most secure with our protocols, other than above our competitors. So that's sort of what differentiates us. We also have the ability to integrate, which we've sort of been focusing on, and ease of use is always something very important that we try to stress with all of our products. So um, I guess that's that's all I got. But I'm biased, so
There you go. Well, to wrap things up, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody that took the time to log in today. We don't take for granted that the your time is valuable, and you've elected to spend this last 50 plus minutes with us to learn more about what VPN technology can potentially do for you and how it can protect your privacy and your family's privacy. But if you happen to be a current PCmatic customer, it's not lost on us that our 25 years in business is directly attributed to the support we've received from very loyal customers like yourselves. So let's make sure we thank you for that before we sign off today. As a matter of follow up, number one, like I've said repeatedly, immediately after you close out of the GoToWebinar session, you'll receive a very brief one question survey that'll give you a chance to check any number of things that you would like us to follow up with you on. So Jeff mentioned if you want to open a ticket on your own, you definitely can. But if you just simply like to indicate in that survey that you'd like to hear back from us about a particular issue, indicate that on the survey. The other thing I'd like to mention is we will continue to do these webinars and these sessions over the course of the year. We started these about midway through 2024, and they were very well received. So we're going to continue to do this. We'll try to change up the topics from time to time. We're going to have a separate session for PCmatic antivirus related topics. We'll have separate sessions for PCmatic VPN related topics. But we'll also have some sessions from time to time where we bring in various thought leaders that we're associated with, retired law enforcement folks that are really on top of the cybersecurity game, to talk about things that you can do above and beyond just simply the installation and purchase and activation of the PCmatic software that you've already invested in, but things you can do from a password management and cyber hygiene standpoint. Look for more sessions on those coming up. And as always, we record all of these sessions. So if you have to step away or you register for a session and aren't able to log in, you will automatically receive, if you register, you automatically receive a link to the replay of this session. And they're also archived out there on our website as well. So with that being said, Jeff, we appreciate you sitting in and sharing your expertise. Again, thanks to everyone that joined us and for your continued support. We hope you have a great rest of your afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you again on a future session. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one, guys.